Assalamu alaikum, y'all. So I am live as I promised, once a day. So come on in the room. We could chit chat a little bit. Keeping it real with Sheila Riddell joined. Let me know what city you joining from. Tina Bay Love, what city? Let me know what city. Come on in the room. I told y'all once a day I was going to go live between August 30th and September 9th. And it's 90 something degrees and I am out here going live for you all. Mr. Will 7, where you chiming in from? Okay, so keeping it real. Perfect, thank you. You from Kissimmee, Florida. Okay. I'm trying to think. I think I've been to Kissimmee, Florida. What's y'all weather like? We're like 90 something in Chicago. So, Mr. Will, where you from? Tina Bay, where you from? Mr. Will, Chicago. All right. Welcome, Chi-Town. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was by Orlando. One and only fashionista. Welcome. Come on in the room. Okay, so you all are all in the 90s. Feel free to ask me any questions about business or money psychology or anything you want to ask me, because I gave my word that I would come out here and go live once a day during what I call my spiritual week. And I just been deep in my spiritual space during this period. Okay, great. Oh yeah, LA. Okay. Did y'all weather get better out there in LA? I haven't talked to my family out there. I got to double check. There's mosquitoes out here. So I have this mosquito stick. I didn't bring it out here, but I actually got it somewhere. It's a mosquito stick. So it's supposed to help with mosquitoes and stuff, but I think it is because I haven't seen that many of them. All right. So any questions you all have about business? We have been talking about scaling. What is the best first credit card to establish yourself? That I don't know the answer to that question. I can't answer because I'm not familiar with the new cards and stuff that are out there. I do know it's important to just, if you can get a card, what I did was I would get my card, I would charge, and I would only charge what I could pay off mostly by the end of the month. And so as I started charging, if I could only pay off $200, I only charged, $150 or whatever, and I just made sure that I could just pay that off every month, and then it just built the credit, and then they'll expand the credit. So I don't actually know, nor would I endorse any of these people because they ain't giving us no money for endorsement. Big Hawaii, I'm assuming you from Hawaii, big Hawaii. Okay, so we've been talking about any questions, put that in the chat. If I don't know, I'll let y'all know what I do know about it, and if I don't, I just don't know. You're welcome, sis. We've been talking about scaling our businesses and figuring out how to take them from, hustle mode into expansion and scaling. It's Amila, assalamu alaikum. So we've been talking about that a lot lately because a lot of us have businesses. We're kind of like everything. We're the CEO, the secretary, the administrator, and all of that. And, in all fairness, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of CEOs and owners out here that can dip off and dip away from their business for 2 to 6 months. Sorry, a lot of people texting me right now. There's not a lot. I mean, you have, of course, I'm sorry, there's this bird up here making all this noise. You have the Scott Bezos, you have the Bill Gates, you have those people who can be gone from their businesses, but it's tough for a lot of CEOs and CFOs to just be gone, even if they have employees. So I hear a lot of talk, and I saw a clip where people were using that as a litmus test, like, can you be gone for 2 months or 6 months? I don't know if that's a good test, because even if you have employees, I mean, I've had at times up to 30 employees in a business, and you still can't just dip off that long, because you got to still be connected. So when I would leave and go to Africa or be gone, I'd still provide a way that my staff can speak. My business partner and I, when we would go on trade missions, we would just do a Zoom call in the conference room with everybody at the end of each day, just so that they could still touch and feel us. I don't know that I would use that as a litmus test, because at a certain point, that person who's in charge does have to be there. A lot of people don't self-regulate, and a lot of times employees will not self-regulate. It's easy to think that if you put in a great system that they'll do it, but most of the time while the cat's away, the mouse will play. So your system is making sure so that people don't steal time, people don't steal merchandise, people don't steal money. You're going to have those controls in your business as well. But in a lot of cases, you're going to have to be close. You're going to have your hands and fingers, you're on the pulse of the business. Even if you're not there dealing with the day-to-day operations, oftentimes your presence is important, or your near presence, or and it may take a while. Even if you find someone who's a great support person, they may be a great COO or whatever, it's going to take time to even train them so they understand how you think, how you move, how you would answer questions, what decisions you would make. It'll take a while before they develop their professional intuition. Even if they came from another business where they were a great COO or manager or director for somebody else, it just takes a while to learn, because that business is an extension of you. Let me know where you all chiming in from. I see you, Professor Lotus, Avalon Regal. Welcome, welcome. It's Amila. So it's going to take a while. And so don't be so quick to use that as a litmus test. I see a lot of people go, well, the business is up and running, I ain't got to be there. I'd be careful, because oftentimes what happens to people is degree by degree by degree, the business starts to erode and creep away from the reason you started it in the first place. So don't use that as your litmus test. It's okay to say, okay, I can step away, I can go on vacation. There's nothing wrong with that. But the idea is you want your heart and your spirit to continue to be in the business. We're in a new day and time. Of course, when our parents were growing up, these companies would start up. Walaikum salam, Professor Lotus. These companies would start up. They make them very generic. People don't have to be there, but people like to buy the experience now. It's too much competition out here for you to just be gone and go, I'm out. Can you take a break and go away? Yes, you can. But should you make that a habit? I would say not. Not until you really train a manager, a director, a COO, whatever position that person occupies within your business, until you train them to where their spirit is in it. See, because here's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people are not always about it. They're in it for the money. And you have to be really clear about that as an employer. I remember when I first started having employees, this is my mosquito stick for those of you who are wondering what that smoke is. When I first started having employees, I was so vested in wanting to give people an opportunity. And I'm still like that. Anytime I have a business or a project I'm working on, I'm always looking to see who else can I bless? What else can I do? If I need something designed, is there a young architect or a designer that I can bring in and say, hey, I want you to design this. And some of those are paid opportunities. Some are not. Some are employee opportunities where I'm just giving you access to additional knowledge and additional things, because I was keenly aware in the corporate world that oftentimes there were just certain things that I just didn't get access to. So I try to bring, Brother Anthony, welcome. I try to bring people into my business and give them access to opportunities that they're not going to see anywhere else. Whether I bring you into the preservation movement and Sajdah House, and you start to get exposed of what that industry looks like, because that's an industry that a lot of us don't know very much about. We don't know the preservation industry. We don't know tourism. We don't know what goes into it. And so I will open myself up and say, hey, you can hang with me. You can roll. You can call me. We can have opportunities. I've had situations before where if I knew I was building a historical project, I would bring in a certain type of architect, a black architect, young architect, and say, hey, take this opportunity to design it, or design this segment, or whatever I'm working on, because what I want to do is I want to put your name and put you in a position so when you go out into the world and apply for that job, or you find yourself competing against other people in your field, you can say, yeah, but I designed, such and such at Sajdah House or at the hospital. And so I like to put people in those kind of positions. Sometimes opportunities like that are not paid positions. If a person works for me, I'll say, hey, ask me any questions anytime. Feel free to pick my brain and just take from some of the knowledge that I have, or I'll take them on vendor meetings, or let them sit in on how pricing is negotiated and things like that. And oftentimes my feelings would get hurt because people wouldn't take advantage of it. Or if I offer them an opportunity and I say, hey, this is not a paid position, but I know you're new in accounting, and if you want to come with me to learn this particular technique, or I know you're a brand new architect, and when they don't take advantage of it, or when they try to come with a price like they've been in the industry for 20 years, or sometimes when I would notice that it's just about the money, I would get my feelings hurt. But I had to learn that for most people, it really truly is about the money. And as an employer, sometimes you have to understand that many times your employees don't care about you. Many times people working with you on a project, they don't necessarily care about you. They care about the project. They care about whatever money they're going to get, but they may not really give a damn about you. And so you got to get over that and continue to build your business and develop a system so that the business can sustain. Oh, assalamu alaikum, Nani by nature. So you have to continue to keep that in mind. And that can be very heart-wrenching when you put your whole heart into the business and you wouldn't leave a piece of paper on the floor, but they walk past a piece of paper like it ain't nothing. Or you wouldn't leave the break room messy because this is your investment. This is your blood, sweat, and tears. But your employees might say, we don't care, we're going to leave it messy. So you have to put those policies and procedures in place that require them and offer incentives for them to do what it is that works for you. But that takes a while. You have to grow into that. And even still, I feel a little pang about it sometimes when I say, hey, I offer you an opportunity. What would you like to learn? What would you like to do? Even if I ask people to help me on a project, I'll say, hey, you can earn commission, or here's some shared revenues. And a lot of times people still, sorry, I got to put my mosquito stick out because it's doing too much here. Sometimes people still don't take advantage, and they still don't care. And you have to get over that as an entrepreneur, and just learn that a lot of people are just in it for the money. And if you can't get them paid and you can't put a certain amount of money in their pocket, they're not about the mission like you all. Remember, I did a show where I talked about 60-something% of U.S. employees are disengaged, completely disengaged. They're just, their mind is somewhere else. And this is causing companies hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so you have to think about it. Can you expect to be any different? Well, I think what you can do is you can expect to kind of crunch down on that number. So instead of 60-something% of your employees being disengaged, you can try to break that down to 30 or 40 by offering incentives, by offering commissions. And you got to be a stickler when it comes to the rules. And I know sometimes people care so much that an employee will keep making mistakes and they'll just keep them around, and that doesn't bear well. It's not fair to the people in your organization who are really trying to do the right thing. So you could have a really good employee and you could create disrespect and dissatisfaction in them when you're allowing somebody else who works right next to them to continue to make mistakes and all of that kind of stuff. So all of these are things that I will help and show you if you bring me on board to help you scale your business. A lot of times we get tired and we're like, hey, I don't want to keep doing this every day. I don't want to be the one where, and I've had businesses where if I didn't show up, certain things didn't get done. Or if I didn't do it, it didn't get done. And a lot of that I had to blame myself. And when you're a high achiever like me, sometimes you do businesses a disservice. I remember saying to my business partner one time, I said, you know, my vast skill sets are a disservice to you and the company, because there's not a lot of problems that they could bring to me that I couldn't jump in and fix. But I think that if I couldn't fix them, they would kind of get their legs under them and learn to do it on their own. So these are just all things that we have to know. But I don't want you guys to fall into this trap, because you're seeing this a lot across pop culture. I played a video on Saturday when we talked about Queen of Sheba where Cindy So Dope, welcome, where Pastor T.D. Jakes was talking to Charlemagne the God, and they were talking about how black people can't leave for 2 to 6 months, and we are like running ourselves in the ground with these businesses. And a lot of people, I hear a lot of talk about folks saying, well, if you can't leave, then it's not really a business. I've been in the business consulting for a very long time. I've been in and out of probably more companies than most of you will ever be in your lifetime, because that's what I've done, from public accounting to business consulting. Different company, sometimes once a month, sometimes they put me on 2 or 3 projects. And there's not a lot of owners and CEOs that can just be completely absent from the business for 6 months. That's very rare. Can they go on vacation? Yes. Can they go golfing in the morning and come in the afternoon? Yes. Can they pour into a COO or a director and get good results? Yes. But it's not very, very common where that top lead person can check out for 6 months. That's called passive income. Okay. Now there are businesses and things that you can set up where you have passive income, where you're making income and it's making money while you're over here doing something else. That's very real. But if you have a company that you've built off of your blood, sweat, and tears, and I don't care how big it is, I don't think you should use whether or not you're successful, the litmus test of can I check out for 6 months to a year. And I think oftentimes we work in companies and we don't see the CEO and we don't see some of the vice presidents. We may be lower on the totem pole, and we think that because we don't see them, walaikum salam from Japan, we think because we don't see them that they're checked out, where they may very well be on the golf course and still be working because they're out there trying to work with a new vendor or negotiate a new deal or put something else together. So be very careful about that. Okay, you working in a restaurant, if you are, even a lot of times if you're the manager, you may not see the owner, but that does not mean that the owner's not working. So let's be mindful of that. So as we scale, I will teach you how to deal with kind of that emotional tug of war with employees, how to handle when they do things that you may consider to be disrespectful, how to handle it when they don't take advantage of opportunities that you've given them, how to handle it when sometimes people's money psychology is just not there. They're just not in a position where they can do what it is that you do. So there's a certain amount of patience, and there's certain things that we have to learn. A lot of times I meet chefs who are great with the food, and they put so much love in the food, and then they have people welcome hearts for Tally Lynn. No, wait, hearts for Tail Lynn, I think. Welcome. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Oftentimes people will, I was talking about a chef. So sometimes a chef will put so much love in the food, and their presentation is so beautiful, and they step away for a minute, and they find that the chefs or cooks that are working up under them don't put that kind of love in. They may not follow the recipe. They may serve a messy plate, things like that. So we just have to learn how to deal with that, and I'll help you with that. I'll help you put in not only policies and procedures and systems, but controls. So there's certain controls that you want to put in place so that you can catch any collusion or any fraud or any theft in your business. There are certain controls that you want to put in place so that if you want to come in, and I'll teach you how to do this, how to do a quick audit, you'll know what points of contact to look at within your process to see what's going on. I'll teach you how to read your business so that when you see certain aspects of the business statistically changing, you know what that is a result of. I used to say when we were, working at the hospital, I say when patients who just left here are constantly calling back with a lot of questions, what does that tell me? That tells me that you all are not taking the time to answer their questions and share with them everything that they need to know. Okay? I will teach you how to teach your staff how to answer the telephone and how to recognize a sales call versus, or if it's not just a telephone, even when people walk up to you in your business, how to know when they really are interested and when they want to buy something. I used to tell my staff, if somebody calls and says, hey, what's y'all hours? You shouldn't just say, we open from 8 to 5 and hang up. That person wants something. So you should be saying, how can I help you today? We're open today from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Would you like to make an appointment? Can I interest you in a facial? Can I interest you in our new skincare line? Whatever it is that you're selling, that should be a follow-up question. But again, a lot of employees, unfortunately, a lot of people are just butts in seats, and they just want to check at the end of the week. And it's challenging. And so you can't get your feelings hurt and let them take you off your square, because that's not good. So, and I'll teach you how to do behavioral interviewing, so you know what questions to ask a person so that you can mine out their personality. Sometimes if you need an extrovert in a position, you don't want to hire an introvert. You may need a person who's very caring, so you don't want to hire a person who's very stern and don't really care. You may have a position where you really need somebody who's really stern and rules driven, but you may not want to hire that compassionate person, right? It becomes very stressful. Oftentimes I'll teach staff members, I'll give you an example. When we're doing tours, for example, at Sajdah House, and I'll say, okay guys, this is the last tour, or don't let people in late, because when you let people in late, we end up having to stop the tour and explain what we've already said, and it's not fair to the people who were here on time. Or don't let people in late. If you got somebody who doesn't have that discernment, when people walk up, they will come and ask you right in front of everybody else, hey, somebody's outside, can they come in late? Or they want to know, can they get a discount? So you have to train your staff on how to protect you as an owner. Don't just bust you out and ask if you in your shop and you selling, whatever you're selling, party favors, flowers, gifts, whatever, and they come in and say, oh, this person wants to know because it's their mother's birthday, can they get a 50% discount? And they ask you right in front of the person. So you have to know how to respond when your employee doesn't have, the professional intuition to say, hey, let me pull you to the side. You have to know how to respond. So you have to know how to walk over and say, okay, what are we interested in today? And engage them in a conversation. So maybe you decide to upsell. That's something to think about. If people are always asking for a discount or something free, you have to ask yourself, how is your staff presenting? And what are they presenting to these people? These are all things that can prevent us as entrepreneurs from getting away from the day-to-day operations. So instead of saying, can I just go ghost for 2 months or 6 months? Sometimes you can consider, do I have to remain a part of the day-to-day operations? And in those cases, I think that is a good question, because what you want to be doing is, you may not want to be dependent upon in your business for the day-to-day operations of the business. You want to be out doing business development. You want to be out recruiting and sourcing new products and services. You want to be out negotiating prices. So stop thinking, people. Stop texting me like, how can I start a business and not have to be involved every day? My question for you is always going to be, what does that mean? Does that mean you want to step away from operations? Sure, we can teach you how to do that, teach you how to put in systems and processes. Does it mean you just don't want to be there, period, and you want this business to operate as passive income? That's another business model. So these are the things that, we would talk about in our session about scaling and expanding your business. Some of us say, well, you know what, I just can't afford to hire anybody. Well, then we can talk about what other products or services or upsells you can introduce that can bring more revenue to your business, or we can talk about how you can structure it. If you have a retail space and you sell cookies, we can help you figure out how to get a corporate client, how to engage people on a monthly basis, how to keep people involved, how to make them feel like they need this product or service. And as entrepreneurs, oftentimes the way you do that is you hook that person into you. So people will pay for an experience, and so they're experiencing you, they're experiencing your staff, they're experiencing your facility. You want to begin to create those experiences, and so we will help you to figure that out, how you create those experiences. So if you guys don't have any other questions in the chat, I promised you all I would go live once a day between August 30th and September 9th. Welcome, Miss Sharice 202. Then that's what I'm doing. It's Louis Bruce. Welcome. So I just wanted to talk to you about all these pop cultural tricks and lies that get out here about business, about how you should see your business, how you should handle your business. Good to see you too, sis. How you should handle your business. I'd like to bust up those myths, because a lot of us spend a lot of time on social media. We see people out here and people are saying, I'm making 6 figures, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But you got to understand what industry that is, what's important. And everything you see on social media does not mean that that is the way you do business. Every industry has best practices and certain business models that sometimes are regulated. Sometimes the business models are set up that if you don't have your business set up in that way, you can't participate in that industry. Sometimes once you learn the industry rules and best practices, you can figure out how to be an industry disruptor by introducing something else and something new and something fresh. So let's not use pop culture to learn business, okay? Let's really study it. Let's study the economy. Let's study what people buy and how they buy it. And lastly, don't think that just because you see somebody else doing something that it works for you. We have a big problem with that as Black people in our communities, whatever small community, whether it's Muslim community or whatever it is. We have a huge problem. We see one person doing something and we think, okay, I'm gonna do that as well. We have, for example, commemorative coins for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, and I see other people going, oh, I'm gonna make some coins for my business. And then they make the coins and they don't sell. And then they say, well, why am I not getting the hype around these coins that I made? Because the part that you missed while you were busy mimicking another business model, you missed the fact that these are made from the copper, or of the copper from the building. So it makes it more special. It makes it a little different. So you have to figure out, if you are going to take something from somebody else, how do you make it your own? It's like singing a song, right? You can sing it as a cover song and sing it exactly the way the original artist sang it, or you can make it your own. So people know you and your version of it. And that's what you want to do in business. So you guys, stop it just because you see other people in real estate. You go, oh, I'm about to go into real estate. That may not even be your thing. Stop it if you see other people doing something, just saying, oh yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna do nails. You have to find your own niche. You have to find your own authenticity, and you have to monetize your own authenticity. You may very well be doing something similar or exactly what another person is doing. That's fine. And in that case, yeah, you can learn from that business model, but then you have to figure out how to make it your own. So those are kind of things that we're going to talk about, because I like to understand why you want to do what you want to do, what business you're in, and why you want to be in that business. Are you in that business because somebody else? A lot of people pick colleges because they heard somebody else went to that college. They moved to a city because they heard somebody else moved to that city. They go apply for a job at a company because they heard somebody else work at that company. They sell a product because they see somebody else making money off of it. Hell, that's how they got us with the crack game. You see one person making money, then everybody jumping into the drug game, and now guess what happened? Now we got mass incarceration and all this stuff that Biden and put together back in the day to put everybody in jail for doing something that a lot of times they didn't even know the risks. Or they didn't even think about the risks. They just saw other people doing it and said, hey, I'm going to do it too. So we want to be careful of that kind of thing. And so when you book your session with me, I'm going to help you mine out some of that kind of stuff. Because trust me, when you do something that you love, that you really care about, like for me, my favorite subject in school was world history. And so I love traveling. I love the world. I love preservation. I love business. So those are things that I would do in my sleep. You could wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I will be on point. I could be half sleepy, half tired, half dead, but I love it so much. And I specifically love infusing spirituality and understanding how trade routes were established and how commerce was used to promote certain ways of life, you know, in historical times. I love that kind of thing. Welcome Eduardo X and Zig Divine. I love it. And so it's something that I will just do because I love it, right? I work with people, I work with surgeons. Just because they're a surgeon, I don't try to be a surgeon. I don't go, look, I'm going to get in the operating room too, but I see people trying to do it. I see people out here going, I'm a fake like I'm a doctor because I see somebody else that's a doctor. We got to break ourselves of these things in business. We'll never get to that level where we're able to really study and experience the science of business until we break ourselves of these things. And last thing that I want to say, please, 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 people, stop being so critical of your brother or sister's business. When you in their business, stop looking around, looking to see what you can say is wrong with them and what they should be doing better. Stop being so overly critical. Stop talking about people because they say, hey, I got to be here 24 hours. I'm at that stage of my business. Guess what? A lot of times what they're doing is better than what they were experiencing maybe when they were working in a restaurant or working in that retail space. Give people time. Support them. What you can do is, if you feel like they should have more employees, maybe spend a little bit more money with them. Now, I'm big on disrespect. So if somebody disrespects me, they don't get my money. I don't follow my money behind disrespect. So anybody that, if you don't like me or disrespect me, if I can't help it, you won't get my money. That's how my money psychology program, my personal money psychology program works. Pat Energize, welcome. Zig Divine, welcome. Yeah, I don't do that. But if I go into a black business and I see that they're trying, and I see that I was at a restaurant yesterday and they had a black jazz band, and the band was really good. And everybody was just kind of sitting there looking at it. And so I went up and gave them a tip. And I told them, look, y'all put a tip thing up here so that you can, make some money. I'm all about trying to see if I can help encourage somebody and give them certainty. But that the messenger called it, I know it's a southern way of saying it, like wonton criticism. Stop criticizing everything somebody does black. It gets so old and it is so tiring. I've dealt with that with every business that I've been in, that I've helped develop. People say, well, y'all should do this. Some of it is good suggestions. Sometimes you don't even know what that person's business plan is or why they do what they do. You don't know that they may barely be hanging on by a string because 2 people called off work. You just don't know. I go through it with Sajdah House, where people like, well, you should make some flyers. And I say, nobody pays attention to flyers. If you put out pluggers and you give them out in a crowd, you'll see most of them on the ground. So you look around and you'll see all your money on the ground. And people get really adamant, like, I think that if you made more pluggers, made some more flyers, more people would donate. And, it's like, okay, that's no. Or they may say, well, I think if you went live 5 times a day, it's like, really? You really think that that's going to do something? So sometimes you're just throwing out stuff and you're not being sensitive to what it is that the person is already doing, and you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And I teach this a lot to young people because oftentimes they tend to be critical. Especially, Willie Lynch is still in effect, so they'll see somebody older and they may try to be critical and be like, well, if you did this, this, and this, it would make it more popular. Well, I always encourage them, make sure you understand the business model before you start giving your business advice. If you have an idea, that's good, but understand how you can support that person within the parameters of their business model, or how they can expand their business model. That's another way to think about that. But don't just be so quick to be critical, and don't be so quick to fall right into Willie Lynch. Light against dark, young against old, male against female. Let's be careful with our language so that we're not like, well, men, they do such and such, or, women, they're such and such, such and such. All of these are things that are going to present challenges to us when we start our businesses. So, okay, y'all, I did it. I went live. We talked about scaling. If you want to book a consulting session with me, I think I talked about some of the things we can do. There's a number of different ways in which I can help you with your business. Then if you say, no, I just really need some kind of coaching, let me tell you real quick what kind of coach I am, because there's a lot of coaches that are out here, and I don't even like the word coach because there's so many definitions of coach. I don't think I'm necessarily a motivational coach. So I do emotional intelligence coaching. I do money psychology coaching. I do mindset coaching. I do manifestation coaching, so that how your mind needs to be, so that you prepare yourself ahead of time what it is that you're asking for, and then you learn how to draw that thing to you, and you set up the manifestation before it happens, and then you walk into it. So that's the kinds of coaching that I do. So emotional intelligence, money psychology, mindset coaching. I coach entrepreneurs on just how to see and view their businesses and the industry, manifestation coaching, that kind of thing. From a consulting standpoint for businesses, again, I can help you with policies, procedures. I can help you with product development, systems, designs. I can help you figure out just how to figure out a project management system. I can help you figure out how to understand your industry and tweak your approach so that you're a little bit different from whatever it is that's in the industry. I can help you with setting up your accounting system. So some technical things, accounting systems, vendor management and vendor selection, negotiating with vendors, you name it. My skills are pretty deep in the business sector, and I don't think that there's an industry that I haven't been blessed to work in as a business consultant and as a developer. So if you click the link in the bio, you book a session, I'll give you one for free. But getting that coach, helping you expand, helping you move past your blind spots is very important. So, all right, family. So happy Labor Day, whatever that means to you all. I am going to go and begin to make some dinner. But I just wanted to come out here and go live for you guys. And as I promised that I would do it once a day. Don't forget to support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. Our project is currently stalled because we're waiting to raise the rest of the money. There's a lot of little things. I won't say stalled, but the construction is stalled. But the development of the business and the systems and all of that is not. But I just wanted you guys to know that because we need you to go out there, help us find sponsors, become a sponsor yourself. If you can't be a sponsor, tell other people to become a sponsor. And I keep saying one last thing, but really one last thing. Because I know a lot of us haven't done big project. When you're doing a big project, whether it's big in dollar amount or big in impact, or just big in terms of the number of people that are involved, however that definition of large or big is for the business. A couple of things you have to remember. A lot of people around you will run out of oxygen. So you may be divinely inspired to keep going. A lot of times people aren't. And they'll run out of oxygen and they'll go and check in with you and just keep score, but they're not going to stay in. Oftentimes, big projects that impact a lot of people are often blocked. And I know we experience that often with Sajdah House, and part of the strategic planning and strategy that we have to do is figure out how to work around people who are just trying to block the project because they are jealous of the impact or they have an issue. Some people block by ignoring the project. Some people will block by literally trying to step in your way. Some people will block by just trying to see if they can impact you or hurt your feelings. But understand that that comes with the territory. And I think oftentimes with big projects where it's not politically correct to outright block the project, what people do is they ignore the project. And so in ignoring the project, that's kind of their passive aggressive way of blocking the project. And especially if they know that they're an influencer, for example, and if they know that they influence people, they figure, well, if I don't say nothing about it, then other people don't care about it. And I can tell that we have a lot of that going on with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum or Sajdah House, because when I see people are head over heels over the project. People are head over heels about what we're doing, what we're working on. People are really excited inside of our nation and outside of our nation. But a lot of times the strategy of blocking comes in and it's in full effect. Ignoring the project, ignoring the person, acting like, or starting rumors even, acting like something's wrong and that person doesn't exist. For me, I travel around a lot and I do a lot of presentations. So a lot of times people don't see me, and sometimes I'll come back and I'll check in and maybe a new rumor has started or they'll make up something. This project started off with people having just crazy rumors that they put in to try to prevent us from getting to this point. So for us to have gotten in the past now 58.5 months this far, really says a lot about the divinity of the project. But we have to be strategic. And so those of you who are with us, we ask that you be strategic as well. We ask that you support. The best strategy is to, help us with those large sponsors that we're trying to get in. One thing about me, I don't ask people for anything for free. I don't ask people just give me. Anytime you donate to me or give me something, I give you something of equal and greater value in return. Whether it's a sponsorship with your name that can go in the museum, that will go down in history, whether you get a coin that's worth way more than what you're paying for it. If you say I give $50, I'll give you something. If you've ever been to any of my events, I always give some type of incentive or reward for you supporting me and my projects. So that's important to me. And so that you should know about me. I'm not one of these people that's going to come out here and go, yeah, gimme, and then not do anything about it. So what we are in need of right now is for people to come with the large sponsorships. I'm really, really super grateful for those of you who have donated $100, $50. I appreciate each and every person who's purchased a coin. While we still need that, because that helps us with the day-to-day operations, we need the big donors, right? Because we can't go to our contractors with $100. $100 may help with some other bills, but we got to go to our contract with the big chunks of money. We got to be saying, hey, here's $50,000 to finish the electrical. Here's another $50,000 or $25,000 to do this or that. Just our historic marker alone is going to run us somewhere in the neighborhood of $18,000. Somebody emailed me this long email the other day, and they were like, well, you should put this big marker out front and you should say that you're on the National Historic Registry. And I said, yeah, they don't give you those markers for free. If you get your National Historic Registry marker, that's about $18,000. So we have to step up and start chunking away at it, because the goal is to get completed this year and get open at the beginning of the year. So anybody who knows, if you know people with deep pockets, if you know people who can become a sponsor, then please, by all means, send them the information. You can go to the Sajdah House Instagram page. There's videos on there. There's flyers on there. There's explanations about the sponsorship. If you want a sponsorship deck and you've got somebody you want me to walk through a sponsorship deck with and let them know what's available, all you have to do is send an email to sajdahhouse@gmail.com. And what I'll do is I will send you a sponsorship deck, put sponsorship in the subject line. I get so many emails and I appreciate all of you all's suggestions, but right now our real focus is let's get the construction done. Okay. So Sajdah House, SAJDAHHOUSE @gmail.com. And Brother Young Khan the Don, he wrote a song for the coins that he's got some visual that he's going to put to it, and I think he's going to debut it on his IG. So I encourage you guys to go there and repost what he's got. So anyway, beware of those strategies. Beware of the devil's tricknology. Yaqub and his made man, they stay busy. Their religion is tricknology. Oftentimes, many of us, even though we may not be one of Yaqub's made men, we've bought into the psychology, and so we use tricknology and all that kind of stuff to derail projects like this. We'll ignore it. We'll tell a lie. We'll say, oh, I forgot all about you. Where you been? Or I've had people say things like, oh, I didn't know anything about this project, or, so it's just a strategy to derail, and it's technology at its best. So beware, because black people use technology as well. Yaqub has brainwashed everybody. Him and his made man have brainwashed everybody, and in a sense, we're now the brainwashers. So they don't even have to brainwash us no more. We brainwash ourselves. So we're the bigger pimps and hustlers, because now we've taken on their mindset because we saw them and their lifestyle as something that we should attain to. And we try to put those games and that drama on to other people. It's difficult for me because I can't imagine that. What was the artist's name, sister? Which artist? I see your question. Which artist are you referring to? Do you mean the artist for the Cracked Adams sculpture? That was Maxwell MK's. Oh, the brother who wrote the song. That's Young Khan the Don. Young Khan the Don. Young, Y-O-U-N-G, Khan, K-H-A-N. I think it's the Don. Probably if you start searching for that, you'll see him. The song, yeah. Young Khan the Don. It's called Coins. Yeah, it's called Coins. So beware of this technology, you guys. We got to be smarter than this. I can tell that the technology is in full effect because I can tell by the questions you all ask me. It's very clear. So be careful, be mindful. Our history is important. People have been hiding our history from us now for thousands of years, and it has not stopped. And oftentimes, we as black people are the ones hiding the history. We as black people are the ones hating and criticizing one another. Oh, that person don't look right. Oh, they a little fat, so I'm not going to support their business. Or they a little black, so I'm not going to support their business. Or they speak with an accent, so I'm not going to jump on their lie. It's just all kind of Willie Lynch, slave colonizer type of crap that we put off on one another. So I'm just saying, beware, beware, beware. So yes, support the project. You can get a coin. You can get as many coins as you need. We definitely need to continue to sell the coins. You want to go to sajdahhouse@gmail.com. And believe it or not, you guys see me out here a lot just because I'm not going to give up. You'll see me until I die promoting this, if that's how long it takes. But interestingly enough, let me say it this way. Our beloved minister has discussed his support of this project. There's many people that are on here that can bear witness that have heard him say it, whether it was in the national or international business or believers business meeting, where he called me up. He's mentioned it privately, how much he adores the project and how supportive. He's just so loving and so supportive every single time I see him and talk to him. And a lot of people look that dead in the face and turn their head and go, oh, and they're still not supporting. So for me, when he says things like buy the Final Call newspaper or give some money for Savior's Day, I've always been one to just try to bust my butt to do it and figure out how I can meet those obligations. But a lot of us are not like that. Okay. So what I don't want you all to do is to look at it. He's given the instruction, he's given the encouragement, he's told us to support the development of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Museum. I think oftentimes we think somebody else is supposed to do it. And so it should be you. Lewis, the actor, welcome. It should be you. Don't look for anybody else. And if you say, well, I don't really have it right now, then you should say, well, let me see. Who can I talk to? Who can I forward this to? We also have to make sure that we get our professional actors and our professional athletes in the mindset of investing in preservation. It's one thing to say, yeah, they're opening businesses and they're investing in certain franchises and all of that stuff, but what about our business? What about our preservation? What about our history? We should make it trendy. What I notice now in the preservation community, since I'm now a big part of it, I notice that people from other cultures, when they become successful, they support the preservation of their culture. And yes, you're right. It's breaking new ground is exactly what it is. And in addition, I've also started preservation consulting work, where I am helping to preserve our culture and putting myself out for hire for people who want help. Right now, we're working on one particular project, which is saving the legacy of Reverend Dr. Lewis Rawls and Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, which is a very historic church here in Chicago. I won't go into it. Some of you saw some of the articles. There was a feature in the Final Call newspaper, and Crane Chicago Business covered it, and Chicago Block Club. We got a little coverage on CBS Chicago. And so you're going to be hearing more about that and some of the other preservation projects that I'm working on. But this project is the vanguard of a lot of that. And so we want to get it done. That's going to really help us just lead this movement and lead this space of preserving and owning and monetizing our culture. Okay? So you got professional athletes in your family, you got friends, repost some of our videos at Sajdah House, tag a celebrity that loves this, and let's see what happens. But we are disrupting an industry, and when you're an industry disruptor, sometimes you get a little bloody. And I would definitely say that right now I'm pretty bloody, but I understand that is what it's going to take in order for us to disrupt an industry that is thousands of years old and that has not attached value to history that is owned, monetized, and told by us. See, there's big investments that will go into Black history, but it's not always Black history told by us. I'm talking about Black on Black on Black. Oftentimes, that's not the case. There's benevolent people from other cultures who have decided that they want to put up monuments and things like that to our Black icons and leaders. But it's them doing it. And then they get donations from their people, and it might be a Black thing, it might be an Egyptian thing or whatever, or something Black that they're putting up. But when we're talking about Black people doing it, and a lot of people find it hard to believe. I have people look at me like I have two heads. They say, and why would you invest $5 million in preserving the legacy of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? They said, well, are you his daughter? Are you his cousin? Are you his, what? They can't wrap their heads around it. But that's okay. We're going to break ground and we're going to help you. And we're going to, the way I look at it is, if his man of God wants it, if the man of God wants it and loves it, forget me, but he loves it, then it's going to happen. He wants it, it's going to happen. Allah gives him whatever it is that he wants. So let's be about it, you all. Enjoy your Monday, your Labor Day, and I'll be live, inshallah, tomorrow. I told you all the way till September 9th. And I'll let you all know what shows we have coming up this week on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. If you have not yet, please go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. Okay? Last Saturday, we've been doing this series on the Coffee Talks about the women of the Bible. And I'm really just trying to bring them alive and lift their names and bring their energy to this space and time in which we live. And so we've been doing that for a few weeks. This past week we did Queen of Sheba, Queen Makeda, or Queen Bilquis, as she's often called. She was one of the wives of Solomon, and it's a really great and beautiful story. So we covered that, and we've done a lot of other things. We had another industry disruptor on the show last Thursday, Sister Samaya from Los Angeles with her company 24 Karat. Ruth, we haven't gotten to Ruth yet, but we're going to get there. We've done Esther, we've done Candace, we've done Mary Magdalene, we've done Zipporah, we've done Lydia. I know I'm missing some. We've done Sheba or Sheba. So we got some more that we're going to do. So we're just digging into that and having fun. So like and subscribe. I think you'll like the page. And oftentimes we have reruns that show throughout the week. But you can always go on there on demand and check out whatever it is that you want. Okay, family, peace and blessings. I love you all for listening. I thank you all for your support. Thank you. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I pray that Allah blesses you from his bounties. I wish you more goodness than you've ever received or imagined. All right. Peace and blessings. I see you, Zig Divine. I see you, Eric Muhammad 9. Welcome. Let me shout y'all out before I go. Eduardo X, Hamza Mir, welcome. Lewis the actor, theatrical Jabbar, the Nation of Islam UK, Euro 2088 Hertz, Lewis the actor. Okay, I see. I said you already. Dooney Chic 2, Samuel Amin Brown, Brother LG, welcome. I see you all. Master Bruce 86, Joanne Joy, Lewis, Sephro 93, welcome. Spiritual Injection, yay, my family. A Blue 7, let's see who else we got. Miss Cherise 202, it's Louis Bruce. Industry 5M, Hearts for Tail Lynn. Brother in the East, Jessica Alaska, Cindy So Dope, Nani by Nature, Sha 73 Reem, Avalon Regal, Professor Lotus. Let's see, I almost got all of y'all, I think. Nassater, some of y'all are still joining, but it's Amila, Keeping It Real with Sheila Riedel, Big Hawaii, One and Only Fashionista, Mr. Will 7. All right, y'all. I know there's more, and I'm sorry. Tina B. Love. Sorry if I didn't say you. Welcome. And thank you. I'm going to say that blessing one more time. I wish you all more goodness than you've ever received or imagined. And I pray that you enjoy the bounties of our Lord. Support the completion of the project. Click the link in the bio if you want to book a consulting session or a coaching session with me. And I'll see you all again, inshallah, tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.